always a pleasure to be joined by TJ Brown, and you can see him fight next on May 1st when he meets Kai Kamaka. TJ, how are you?
I'm great, man. Like I said, I just got done fishing with my son. I had a crazy incident there, but man, it's been a great day. I've been getting some good training. My son's on his spring break, so having to spend a little time with him, man. So all life is good right now.
That's good to hear. Now, you told me the story before you went live, but it's pretty funny. So tell anybody out there that's watching what happened.
Yeah, so I had to apologize to you, man. I was like 15 minutes late getting here to the call. Me and my son were just fishing, and man, we're wearing them out, dude. I mean, we're catching fish after fish, wearing them out, and I was going to put another fish on the stringer, and when I did, I dropped the stringer. All right, then I go to grab it, and I miss. I'm like, man, we had like about 15 fish on there, man. So I dive in the lake. I dive in the lake. I grab the stringer underwater, come up with the stringer, and my kid's pumped. He's laughing, And I get back in the boat, put the fish in the boat, and I realize my phone, my wallet, my keys, everything's in my pocket are soaked, and of course my iPhone doesn't work. But I think I have insurance on it, so I'm gonna get it fixed.
There you go. Smart man. Insurance saves the day. So, well, again, as I said to you too before, at least you didn't get hurt or get injured or anything like that. That's
Right.
the silver lining.
Right, dude. Yeah, you injury free, man, in good shape. Weight's coming down, so man, we're in a good place right now.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, last time we spoke was back in August or prior to that, before you're getting ready to fight Danny Chavez. Unfortunately, that fight didn't go your way, man. What can you take from that loss here moving forward?
I've had some losses in my career where I've never really thought I got beat by somebody. Like I beat myself. Like I made mistakes. It's my fault. Like I feel like I beat myself. In that fight, I can honestly say Danny Chavez outsmarted me and played a great game. Being such a boxer, wanting to let my hands go. I'm so heavy on that lead leg, and those calf kicks really took a toll on me, man. And breaking my orbital in the first round. I mean, he really beat me, man. He was a better man that night. But what I took from that was, man, I not only learned how to defend calf kicks, but I'm using them myself because I know they work, man. So and man, just I've made some changes. I went to Glory MMA with James Krause. Man, that place is a Shark Tank, dude. They've got a bunch of killers in the room. Not to mention James is probably one of the best coaches I've been around in my entire life. I've been very lucky to have some awesome coaches in my life. But man, James ceases to amaze me, man. His knowledge and fight IQ is unbelievable.
Yeah, well, we're going to talk a whole lot about Glory MMA and your boy Grant Dawson with that big win over the weekend. My God, he's someone to keep your eyes on. But I do want to ask you, talk about the calf kicks. Obviously, Conor McGregor lost to Dustin Poirier, and Poirier was peppering him with those calf kicks as well.
Yeah.
For anyone that hasn't been kicked in the calf, what does that feel like? How immobilizing is that as a fighter?
Man, you've even seen a lot of fights being stopped from it, and man, it's not just a pain, man. Most fighters are pretty tough, and it's not just a pain, but it's rather a bit debilitating. There were times in my mind I was telling myself to move, and my leg was almost like a dead leg. I was like, man, it's something that I never experienced before, and even days afterwards, man. I mean, it was still in pain. So it's a tough one, man. And I'll tell you what, it's a good enough weapon that I've added it to my game. You're going to see it in my fights.
Very good. Well, Kai Kamaka might have to be looking out for those leg kicks here come May 1st. Outside of obviously, being a Glory MMA for this camp, man, what has life been like for you? Have you just been really spending a lot of time with your son and training, or has there been any new wrinkles to your day-to-day life?
Yeah, that's pretty much life for me, man. I don't have a whole lot of hundreds of different things going on. I spend time with my son and I prepare for my fights, and I just live that, I guess you say, fighter lifestyle, man. One things that are different is I took a step back from teaching classes and doing private lessons. For this fight camp, I've been lucky enough to put some sponsors together, save some money, and I am just focusing on training. That's all I'm doing right now, So And I'm going to tell you, just in the 3 or 4 weeks at Glory, I was there. I have grew tremendously. Just from being all in on the game, not versus getting done training and then I'm doing a private lesson and teaching a kids class. It's just training. It's just focusing on the fight. So, just I'm doing near the same things, just a little harder regimen training and just focusing on the fight itself.
Mhm. I thought I saw something on Facebook recently that you did a seminar at. Is it Satori MMA? Was
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, so that's in Texas. I just did that last weekend. A good friend of mine, we linked up at a Muay Thai seminar, and we become good friends. He asked me, he just started his gym a few years ago, and I went and taught a seminar there. And I'm actually teaching one, not this weekend, but the next or this coming up weekend in Colorado. So I'm looking forward to that. I enjoy coaching. That's something I really like to do. And by teaching seminars, it allows me to go and train with some new bodies as well, and it allows me to kind of open that networking and meet new people and train with new faces, and a bit of fighting is dealing with the nerves, with the nervous, and being in that uncomfortable place. And I feel like the more times I can go into other gyms where I feel uncomfortable and see new bodies, new places, the more advantage I'll have, and the more comfortable I will feel on fight night.
Gotcha. Now, obviously, everyone knows you've been at Glory MMA for this camp. Is this going to be your home for the unforeseen future? Do you plan on staying there?
Man, it's a tough one, dude. For sure, I'm going to do my camps here. I'm sold, man. I mean, as far as in this area, I don't know of a better gym, man. When it comes to the highest level MMA, I am blown away by the program they put together down there and just the all-around game that they've created there, man. And the Sharks are there. It's not just a Glory team. They've got teams from all over coming all the time. There are guys from Oregon, Massachusetts, all over the place. Just in the few weeks I was there, just coming there to train. So, man, it's really a hotbed for around here, man. And to answer your question, my fight camps will be there. James will be in my corner. However, I'm in a tough spot. Let's not remember, I've got a 9-year-old son, and I teach and coach all the time at Westside MMA. So I've got to figure some things out there, But for now, for sure, I'll do my camps there. But as far as all the time, we'll see, man. I'm still in the boat there and can't give you an answer.
Gotcha. Now, you mentioned a school from Massachusetts coming out there. That's my neck of the woods. Do you remember the name?
Yeah, Don, I think. He trained with Peter Barrett, helped Peter Barrett in his last fight. He's a 45er.
Yeah.
Dude, he's gonna be mad at me. I don't know his name. He's a shorter cat, really bowed up. I think he's like 7-2 pro. I think his name's Don or something like that. But he trained with Peter Barrett quite a bit for his last fight. Man, he's a dog, dude. Super good.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, you guys clearly have a bunch of studs to train with on a day-to-day basis there. Let's talk about Coach Krause and what makes him such a great coach. Obviously, the people that, the fans that see him as a fighter, obviously fighting in the UFC, but he's really making a huge name for himself as a coach. So speak on just what makes him so good as a coach.
I'll speak in two areas. One area is in the gym, but also he has the ability that I've watched him in fight night, in the moment, be able to turn a fight around. I mean, just look at Grant Dawson's last fight there. He used some key words to get Grant to focus in and do the things he needed to do to win that fight. And in the stressful moment of a fight, you have to be able to use some key words or have to find a way to break through to your fighter when they're in that chaos of a mindset to get them to focus in and do the right things. And not only that, in the gym, he's got me looking at it way more than I did. Really writing down my fight. I mean, the way I fight. And funneling people into the way I fight. I've never really broke it down. A lot of times I'm going into a fight and I'm just fighting. I'm going in there. I'm going, of course, for the finish to fight, but I'm really breaking down how I'm going to do that. And no matter what position I get into, I can funnel them back into the positions where I'm strong. And, man, it's really opened my eyes to the MMA game. And I think I'm really going to be able to showcase a new and improved me come May 1st.
Wow, that's really exciting. And I've just heard nothing but phenomenal things about James Krause as a coach.
Yeah.
What makes Grant Dawson such a good fighter? Because he really looks like he could be a huge star here in the making.
Yeah. So I'm a very prideful man. I think a lot of myself. But I'm here to tell you that kid is one of the best I've ever been with on the ground. Now remember, I trained with Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell's what ranked 12 in the UFC, one of the best grappers in the world. And I know him and train with him, and I'm saying he is one of the best grapplers I've ever grappled with in my entire life. Grant Dawson is something special. And the way he's able to funnel you into his position to where he's strong, man, James has just done a great job with him. And he's a dog too, he's not just and he can strike too. Like people think he's just a grappler or go on the ground. Man, that kid can hit hard and he's strong. So I think with him and James, they make a great team. And man, that kid may be going up in the top 10 here soon, man. I'm telling you. I mean, Grant is something special. His ability to get to where he is strong and stay there is unbelievable. And hopefully you'll see a bit of that of me in my upcoming fights.
Yeah, I'm sure you watched every second of his fight this past Saturday. Obviously, he had a huge exclamation point put on that fight with 1 second left in the third round. Finishes his opponent via hammer fist. How did you see him faring as far as like a judging aspect in that fight? If he didn't get did you feel like he was still clear cut going to win that fight?
That's my boy. Like I got love for Grant. However, I thought the other guy may have won a couple of the rounds. It was very close, So I honestly, in my mind, James said it right. We don't know what those judges are putting on the scorecard, so we need to go out here and get a finish. And that's exactly how I felt. So to answer your question, yeah, I thought he might have lost one of the rounds, So it was really a toss-up, and I'm glad he got the finish.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Very, very impressive finish there with 1 second left in the fight. It's funny. The last time I talked to him, I mentioned you and that video that you put on Instagram of that snake coming and stealing your guys' dinner. He ever mention that to you?
No, he didn't. He didn't say that too.
I told him, I was like, you got to go check it out. This 10-foot, I can't remember what kind of snake it was, came out and took their dinner, and he was just like, no way, because neither one of us like snakes. You haven't had any more experiences like that out fishing, have you?
No, man. Like I said, today was pretty wild. We caught a whole bunch of fish, and I about let them all go if it wasn't for me jumping in that lake. So outside of that, it's been pretty normal.
Very good. Now, who have been some of the other guys that you're getting in a lot of work with at Glory? Have you had like specific training partners, or are you just kind of going with everyone?
Me and Graham trained together a lot, as well as Mike Breeden. Mike Breeden is, he fell short on the Dana White Contender Series, but I'm here to tell you, they give him another chance. He'll break his way into the UFC. He is the truth. Very good boxing, as well as a good ground game that's underestimated. They've got a kid named David, I believe. He's an up-and-comer. I think he's like 8-0 as a pro. I mean, you should see him on the cusp of things here soon, All right, I hope I don't forget anybody. But, man, the whole gym for a whole has been very welcoming, helping me, and I think I've been able to give back a little bit, too, to them.
I know he's a little bit bigger than you, but Jason Witt is out there at Glory as well. Do you talk to him pretty regularly?
Yeah, I've talked to him. He's a super nice cat. I hated seeing how his fight went, But you got to chalk that up to the game, man. Anything can happen in this fight, in this fight world, and I'm sure he'll learn from that mistake and come back and get the next one, But yeah, he's been nothing but nice to me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. That's what I was going to ask you too, is just your thoughts on him bouncing back, because obviously it's tough to suffer a loss like that. What frustrates me even more is all the people on social media that want to jump on fighters when they experience a loss like that. It drives me nuts, because to step inside that cage and to fight, I mean, these things are bound to happen. You're going against the best in the world. Does that really bother you when you see?
Yeah, and it's crazy. Me and Grant was talking about that. It's tough. not to comment back on these people that are, I guess, keyboard warriors, that will make remarks like that, or comments on your post that negative. I try my best to blind them out, but man, it is really ridiculous. Some of the fans, without the fans, the sport would be nothing. But however, dude, I really think that I don't know how you would get the normal person to understand until they have stepped in that cage or been there. I don't know if they could really understand. Much less go hit a heavy bag for 3 minutes straight and see how you feel after that. I see the comments all the time. Oh, why don't he just do this? Why don't he just get up? Or why don't he do this? I tell you what, you go there and fight with another grown man that is a professional as hard as you can. Put your heart out there and see how you feel after fighting for 15 minutes, and I think what I'm trying to say is, man, just enjoy the sport and appreciate those fighters for training their tail off for months on end and going in there and doing their best. You'll never hear any negative from me, from any fighter, my opponent or anyone, because I do know what it takes and been doing it for years. And I feel like if some of these guys would do it themselves, they'd have a better appreciation for things.
Yeah, very well said. No doubt about it. I watch a lot of interviews because of what I do here. And I even shake my head when I see people that want to drag down journalists saying that, oh, you're an awful interviewer, or yada, yada. It's just like when you're exposed to the public and you're someone that's in the public eye, like yourself, for example, I think people just look at you if they can drag you down, they can, because they'll make themselves feel better. And it's just sad.
James said it one time. Some people, most people will like you, and then there were some people that won't like you just because everybody does like you. And there's people like that don't like you just because everybody does. And man, haters are gonna hate, man. But I guess we got to give them a reason to, or give them something to talk about. But at the same time, they have no clue what it's really like.
Yeah, no doubt about it. All right, let's talk about this matchup with Kai Kamaka. He's 8-3. He suffered a loss most recently to Jonathan Pierce. Before that, he had wins over Tony Kelly and Michael Stack, who I'm high on. I think he's someone that could be in the UFC one day soon. When you look at this matchup, how do you feel it shakes out for yourself?
Man, I think he's going to come to fight, and so am I. I think he's a game opponent. I think I've seen him in that one banger, his first UFC fight. That was really a banger. And I'm going to go out there and let my hands go too. So it should be an exciting matchup. However, I believe we have put together a game plan. And with the progress I've made over this last camp, man, I'm liable to go in there and make one of the best performances of my life. And I think I have a game plan to really put him away and make myself shine. Nothing against him. I think he's a game opponent. I think he's a dog. I think I've got a few things that's going to put him away.
Do you feel this fight gets into the third round, or do you expect to put him away before then?
If it does, it benefits me. I've got several fights that are finished in the third round. I will say he ain't finished a lot of fights. Again, I don't want to be negative on anybody, but he's not finishing fights. If you look at his fights, he's not finishing a lot of fights. He doesn't have any knockouts. I'm coming in there to finish. Whether it's the first, second, or third, I will drag if I have to. I'll drag him to the deep waters and finish him in the third. So if it does go to the third, I believe it benefits me.
Very good. Well, I'm excited to see you back in the cage, man. Do you feel more pressure on yourself to
get this? Man. Yeah. I would love to lie to you and tell you that it wasn't, but there's a reason I've made these changes. There is a lot of pressure. I finally got my dream. I'm in the UFC. Now I've got to win one. This fight means the world to me, man. I've made huge changes. I went to another gym. I've got a sports psychologist now. I've made some huge changes, and man, I'm really ready to display to the world truly how great I am on the highest level.
Are you worried that if you don't win this fight, hypothetically speaking, that the UFC could cut you? Like, what's your current?
Oh yeah. I believe at this point it's all or nothing. I'm fighting for my job. I believe my job is on the line, and I've got to go out there and handle business. And you're going to see a certain intensity from me going into this fight that I'm going to leave it all out there, knowing no matter what happens, I did everything I could.
Yeah, oh, that's exciting to hear. As far as 2021 goes, are you looking to stay active and get right back in there?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, you look at my 2019 year. I had 5 fights, won every fight. Then 2020, I dropped 2. You know, I go from winning all my fights. Then 2020 was an awful year. I'm sure it was an awful year for everyone. Now 2021, this is my year. You know, it's time to bounce back and return to the Mac, baby. We're coming back.
I love it. Again, TJ Brown will face Kai Kamaka on May the 1st. TJ, always a pleasure talking to you, my man. Before we let you go, if you have any sponsors you want to thank or tell people where to follow you on social media, the floor is yours.
Yeah, guys, please follow me on Downtown TJ Brown. I'm very thankful for all my sponsors. If you get on my social media, you'll see it's a good platform to where I try to advertise most of my sponsors that make this possible for me to live my dream and go out here and win this next fight. Remember, May 1st, it's going down. I'm fighting for my job. I'm coming back.